Thank you for joining us on Merit Matters, a virtual series highlighting current events, industry experts, and local community engagement. I'm your host, Tammy Birklid, Principal of Merit Construction, and today I'm going to be discussing our latest campaign, Build What Matters, with our client, the Tacoma Mountaineers, specifically Geoff Lawrence, who was the president when we built the facility. The Mountaineers is a wonderful organization. I'm excited for you to hear about them. They're still very active, even during COVID, and they offer us a ticket to the great outdoors. Hi, Geoff. I'm so glad that you're here with me today. It has been a long time since I've seen you.
Hey, Tammy, nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Yes, it has been a long time. Seems like we were seeing each other for a lot of time there for a while, but it has been a couple of years since I've seen you. So I understand that your company is doing well, so I'm really happy to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah. When we built the Mountaineers with you, that was one of my very favorite projects. Such a beautiful building and so much meaning in your project. So I was so excited to be able to speak with you and kind of talk about the building, what the Mountaineers does for the community, and just talk about community impact and finding good partners to make that happen. And I know that that's something that matters very much to you. So I want to talk a little bit more about you and how you got started with the Mountaineers.
Sure. Yeah, I came to Tacoma in about 2003, and I had been traveling a lot my entire career so far, and I came here and I didn't have to travel anymore. I had a job where I was working locally, and I had always been interested in the outdoors. I've done hiking and camping and that kind of thing, but I hadn't really gone much beyond that. And so I moved to Tacoma, and there was the Mountaineers here, which I learned about pretty quickly. And I joined the Mountaineers and decided to take a basic climbing course. Mm-hmm. And that was in about 2004, 2005 or so. And I developed a really strong interest and developed a lot of friends in the organization. And I got engaged more fully with the Mountaineers after I went through their basic climbing course. I went on to the intermediate climbing course, which is a logical progression. Part of that course is to give back to the basic climbing students and to teach and to instruct and so forth. And after I did that for a while, there was a need for doing some of the more administrative things, and I was probably better at administration than I was at teaching climbing. So those are important things too, and then I got engaged with that. So that's kind of how I got into leadership at the Mountaineers.
So they wanted to work with your strengths, and your strengths were more in the admin side, and they kind of had a hole there. So you were able to step in and actually add something that was much needed.
Right. I mean, the reason that a lot of people join an organization like the Mountaineers is because they want to experience the outdoors. They want to escape all the frustrations and so forth that we all have during the week and with our jobs and with other things in our lives and so forth. And so one of the things that a lot of people want to avoid, though, in an extracurricular pursuit like this, is a lot of the same headaches that you get while you're at work, right?
Yeah.
But that's important. I mean, it's an organization.
You need those pieces and parts to be whole. If all we did was play at an organization, it probably wouldn't be super successful.
That's right. So I had some experience like that, and I understood and still understand that those things are really important to make an organization work. And the Mountaineers, being a volunteer-led organization with over 3,000 volunteers every year, there's lots of room for people to be able to exercise their strengths.
Yeah, I love that. I think strength-based work of any sort is such an important thing, rather than trying to do something that you're not especially good at, exactly like you were saying. So if you weren't great at teaching climbing, so much better for the organization for you to bring what you're great at and be able to excel at that. And the organization gets to reap the benefit of that.
Right.
So Yeah, that's so great. 3,000 volunteers.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really fantastic. You shared a little bit about the vision and the mission, how when you go through the program, you have not necessarily an obligation, but part of it is for you to give back. So share
Mhm.
with me a little bit about the Mountaineers vision and mission and kind of how that works,
Sure.
how you grow people.
Sure. Well, the mission of the Mountaineers is to enrich the community by helping people explore, conserve, learn about the lands and the waters of the Pacific Northwest and beyond. And so it basically is not only teaching skills and safety to get outdoors, but to engage as many people as possible in doing that, and to do it safely. That's a really important part about it. And so when these are skills that can be lost. I mean, you have to continue working on them. You have to keep developing.
Yeah.
They're not permanent skills. You need to keep working on it. And so one of the things with the Mountaineers is that when you go through a class, there's encouragement to stay on and to teach the next level down. And of course, not everyone can do that. People are at different stages in their lives and their personal situations, and you can't always make time for that. But there's a credo that a lot of people will stay on and then teach those who are in the classes down below them, coming up behind. And so that's what a lot of people do in the organization.
I love that. And so tell me, how do you guys serve the community outside of the climbing and teaching the climbing? Are there any events or programs that come up during the course of the year that you guys are particularly proud of that kind of enhance our community?
Yeah, there absolutely are. I mean, we offer a lot of youth-based classes. The Mountaineers became a 501c3 organization in 2011, among other things, to be able to focus a lot of the fundraising efforts on youth and adults who have had barriers to using the outdoors or being able to enjoy the outdoors. Our philosophy is that if you don't really understand what the wonders and the beauty is of the outdoors, it's going to be hard for you to want to protect it in the future. And so, we want to bring as many people outdoors of all stripes to be able to enjoy that. So in the last 2 years alone, we've awarded over $300,000 in funds for scholarships and for grants and so forth to allow low-income individuals and families to access the outdoors and to participate in our courses and our classes and that kind of thing, including summer camps. We have youth programs. We've got a program which is called Mountain Workshops Program, which provides outdoor activities for over 40 organizations that primarily serve low income and youth of color from across the Puget Sound. And in the last 2 years, in fact, in the Tacoma area alone, we've served over 570 youth and adults. So I mean, it's a really great program, and we've established some really good relationships with other organizations, particularly youth serving organizations, to be able to partner with them so that we're able to bring the fantastic opportunities in the outdoors to a lot of different people.
I love that. I think that's so wonderful. And, certainly we've been talking about all you can do outdoors and like understanding nature, understanding why it's important to protect it, all of those things. And you training youth to understand that, I think, is so important for the future. We're also talking about the bigger picture. So build what matters, which, that's our current campaign that we're talking about. So what would you say is important from your perspective to contributing to building what matters?
Yeah. Let me just digress for a little bit, in that the Mountaineers has been around since 1906. It's a long-standing organization, and in Tacoma, which is the second largest branch outside Seattle, the Tacoma Mountaineers have been around since 1912. We have a long history here. In the early 50s, there was some land donated by a Mountaineers member in Old Town. And in 1956, the original clubhouse was built by members with the donated labor and the donated materials. And so, that was an opportunity to be able to build this organization for members to gather and to be able to have conduct classes and invite the community in. I think one of the really cool things about the Mountaineers Clubhouse and now the Program Center, which was rebuilt in 2012, is that I run into so many people in Tacoma who have gone to weddings there, wedding receptions, quinceañera celebrations, or whatever. But it's a real community. It's a real community hub. In addition to being a center for the Mountaineers and the community to meet, we also host meetings of organizations like Tacoma Public Utilities for public comment sessions, or Rainier National Park when they have a public outreach. We offer a speaker series where we bring in speakers who will talk about great adventures or really interesting things that brings in a lot of the public. So yeah, the Build Book What Matters kind of started a long time ago with us, and so that's what really resonated with in 2011 when we undertook this project, thanks to a bequest that we got from a longtime member to rebuild the program center. That's what really attracted us to Merit Construction, is that there was such interest in and engagement with what we do, and kind of figuring out that we really had a lot of the same interests in the community and a lot of the same objectives in mind. And we were so impressed. I don't know if you recall or not, Tammy, but we were doing fundraising. We were doing all kinds of fundraising. I think there was a Merit Construction person who came to every fundraising event. And I remember the first one we had. The first one we had was a gift wrapping thing at REI.
Yeah.
And we talked to REI into allowing us to go at the exit and to wrap gifts as people were leaving REI. And so you had a couple of your folks there, and we were wrapping papers and just having a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's kind of illustrative of the community resources that are really important. I mean, we want to serve our members, but we also want to serve the community.
I think it's important every time you have a choice in choosing a vendor or a contractor, in this case, like you're speaking of, you want somebody that invests back into you. You're trusting them with this dream of yours. And so you want to know that they care about what you're trying to do, that they're going to be a good steward of your resources, all of those things. And I think we clicked so well, and we were so excited about what you were doing there. And I think you got the best of us, because we so believed in what you were doing. And I think that's why is still to this day, my favorite project, because we were so invested. And it was because also you guys are all volunteers. So you guys are invested as well. So everybody was just kind of deep in it from that perspective. So let's see, can you share a specific story, because I know everybody loves stories and they love to hear about how all these things we're saying we do. How is somebody directly impacted by that? Do you have maybe a favorite story of an individual who sort of made a shift in their life based on Mountaineers or something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the things which constantly inspires me is that so we do these mountain workshop programs, and we've had these mountain workshop programs alone have served over 200 people a year, and we take people out to do climbing on the climbing wall in the back, teach them how to belay, teach them how to rope in and so forth. And then afterwards, a lot of times we'll offer trips to go out to Mount Rainier in the snow, or to first time a lot of these people have seen snow.
Yeah.
And it's just, although I haven't participated in many of those, it's just hearing the stories of the people and then seeing the photographs of just the wonder of snowshoeing at Mount Rainier, up at Paradise, and being in this incredible place. And we have a couple of people who had continued then into our leadership program. We also have youth programs starting from age that we call mini Mountaineers, which is like 3 years old and up.
Wow.
Yeah, but then we have youth programs. We got like a youth program for people like 11 to 14, and then from 14 to 18. But there's one individual whose name I forget, but she moved all the way up, started in one of these mountain workshop programs, and she got so invested and so inspired that she went up through all the youth programs, and now she's leading the youth program there. So
wonderful. I love that when that happens, where it becomes part of who they are. And then it's so important to them to give back. So that makes me so happy. Do you have pretty much all your same activities right now during the COVID, or is everything?
Yeah, no, everything's mixed up. I mean, we had to cancel a lot of classes. I mean, we were getting, it's interesting, the way that the Mountaineers works is that we use that facility mainly in the evenings, and it's mainly during the winter because most of our classes start after the new year. And we conduct classes in the evenings because we want to accommodate people's schedules. And then the classes are typically over by the end of the spring because everyone wants to get outside and enjoy it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I want to do what you showed me.
Yeah, right. Come
outside.
On.
Yeah.
Come on, you taught me this. Now let me go do it. Right?
Exactly.
But you probably noticed skiing season hasn't really gotten going yet. But boy, I tell you, hiking and outdoors, there's a huge growth in the amount of people getting outdoors, just because that's something we could safely do.
Yeah.
And so we have continued those activities. I mean, it's kind of evolved into people taking small groups and meeting up places and figuring out how to get places. We did conduct our summer camps, so we had obviously very, very restricted summer camps. But we were able to conduct those, the mainly outdoors activities. We had a little bit at the program center where we were doing climbing, but we usually have 4 or 5 weeks of camp, but we did 2 or 3 this year, so we're able to do that. I'd say that there's been a lot of entrepreneurism in trying to figure out how to make this work in this crazy time. One of the things which is really cool is that we had to cancel our big annual fundraising event twice. I mean, it was originally scheduled for the beginning of April, and that of course had to get canceled. Then they optimistically rescheduled it for the end of July, but that of course didn't happen. We had two virtual galas. And I mean, the incredible thing about the community is that the amount of the fundraising was equaled or exceeded from previous years, even with these virtual galas. So that was inspirational. Obviously, we, as a lot of other nonprofits, are suffering because we don't have, we depend upon course revenue, but the membership has really blossomed. I mean, when we worked together on the Tacoma Program Center, the membership in Tacoma was about 1,000. Well, largely due to the wonderful building we have now, the membership is up to 1,600.
Oh, that's incredible.
And the Mountaineers as a whole, I think we were maybe around 12,000 or so there, and we're over 14,000 now as an organization. So I mean, there's been a lot of growth. I mean, there's been a lot of growth in the population here too, which obviously helps. But I think the awareness of being able to get out and then having a flagship like the Tacoma Program Center also helps, where there's a gathering spot.
Oh, I do. I have had so many people mention, how beautiful that building is. And I think it really speaks about who you are as an organization, the way that you guys were so careful to preserve everything possible
Yeah.
from the original building, and just how all of those things mattered so much to you to reuse and recycle everything possible. And I loved hearing about that and knowing that that was important to you. And we were able to help in some of those instances, and that really meant a lot to us as well.
You were. I got to tell you a story. I don't know if I ever told you this,
Okay.
but your site superintendent who was there got really interested in the site, and he started to do a bunch of research. And we had, as a part of the program, we had to rip up the street. We had to rip up Carr Street, and we had to repave it.
Yes.
Okay, so they repaved Carr Street and so forth, and there were these beautiful old cobblestones that were underneath. And so the site super went to the public library and then did a bunch of research on the origin of that. And there used to be, going up 30th Street, there used to be a stop for horses there. There used to be a stables there, but they had a stop, and they would feed the horses before going up the steep 30th Street hill. Right.
I love that. Yeah, see, it's inspiring when you kind of get involved with that, and you guys were bringing that along, and you were talking about those things and how important. And I think I do remember hearing about that in the office, that he was just like inspired and loved it. He loved learning about all the history of the Mountaineers, and it just sort of expanded for him from there. Yeah. So yeah, that was a really neat thing. So. Did you want to talk a little bit, Geoff, about the environment and sort of sharing about how important the footprint situation is?
Yeah, we have, we're in a climate crisis. There's no doubt, and it's affecting a lot of the wild lands that we play in and that we want to protect. I mean, it's not hard to see, even since I've been here in the early 2000s, how a lot of the glaciers have receded. They continue receding, and a lot of the places are becoming different. And so, at any rate, I mean, we have a real strong effort to want to reduce the carbon footprint as much, and do to embrace carpooling and low emission vehicles, and that much, and everything else that we can. So we put together the Carbon Footprint Reduction Committee a couple of years ago. Actually, it was inspired by a Tacoma Mountaineer, Charlie Michelle, who was the chair of the kayak committee. But he made a very generous donation a couple years ago, 3 years ago, to see the installation of a solar system on the Seattle Program Center. And then the organization matched that in the Seattle Program Center and the Tacoma Program Center, and in one of our lodges. So far, we've replaced all the lights with LED lights. We're applying for a grant to be able to put solar on the Tacoma Program Center. We have gas-fired furnaces in there in the future. We are planning on replacing that with a high-efficiency heat pump. Our objective is to get to a net zero building, which means that all the energy that we're consuming, we're either generating or we're buying from renewable sources. So
I love that. I think that stands very true to your value system within the Mountaineers, and you want to protect the areas that you love to spend time in. So that makes perfect sense. And I think, being in the Pacific Northwest, that there's a lot of people that's going to really resonate with, and that they can definitely get on board with that also. So so important.
It is really important. It is really important.
If you have some new people that want to hear about the Mountaineers or understand how they can get involved with the Mountaineers, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, well, the easiest way is probably go to mountaineers.org. We've got a really good website, and we also have got a presence. We've got a presence on Facebook. I think we have a number of different Facebook pages. I mean, the big ones are the Mountaineers and also Tacoma Mountaineers. The Tacoma Mountaineers have a Facebook page also, and the Twitter handle is @MountaineersORG. So depending upon what your preferences, all those can be accessed to get more information. One thing which is really great is that the Mountaineers have something for everybody. I mean, we're called the Mountaineers, but I mean, there are hiking classes, there are kayaking. So for any level, snowshoeing, for any level of what you want to do, there's an availability. One of the great things that I found out when I joined is that on any given weekend, I got to know people that I could connect with and go do something. And the Mountaineers have over 150 volunteer-led courses. And just last year, well, in a normal year, we have over 3,000 trips that are planned, that are posted, and then there's a lot of informal things too. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for it.
It is perfect for the Pacific Northwest, and I think the advice for everybody right now is find a way to get outside and enjoy the beautiful place we live.
Absolutely.
I'm just going to exchange a little bit of rapid fire questions so we can get to know you a little bit,
Sure.
and then I'll share my answers with you as well.
Okay, great.
So share with me first, what's your favorite winter activity?
Favorite winter activity? Oh gosh, I guess my absolute favorite winter activity at this point in time is at the end of the winter going and escaping down to the Grand Canyon, hiking the Grand Canyon. But when I'm here, I enjoy doing snowshoeing. I was just out a couple weeks ago snowshoeing up at Snoqualmie Pass, which is absolutely beautiful.
Nice. It's so good that you're still able to get outside. I think my favorite winter activity is definitely skiing. A lot of people have gone to snowboarding, but it's just not made for me. I'm just not any good at it. So I'm sticking with what I know, and I'm continuing to ski. The next one is, if you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Oh boy, right now I think I've done a couple of long hikes across England, and it's just so beautiful, and just the notion of traveling to beautiful places and being able to hike in beautiful places. So I'll probably go to England and maybe do a hike in Wales.
That's so neat. I think all of us are so starved for some different scenery right now. We'd all pick plenty of places. I still would love to see Italy. I'm super excited about the food there and about the wine. And I love all the colorful buildings. And I just think it would be really a beautiful place to go. What book do you find yourself recommending the most to other people?
What book do I find recommending the most? I've been reading some historical fiction recently, which I enjoy. There's a series which is called Pillars of the Earth, which is kind of mass market, but it's really engaging, and so I've recommended that to a number of people.
Nice. I think probably that I recommend the most. It's probably a tie, but one of the top ones, I guess, is Dare to Lead by Brene Brown. I'm not sure if you're familiar with her, but she does a great job. Yeah, I love her stuff about it's okay to be vulnerable, and I think that's such an important thing, and that she shares that with men and women together. I love that. I love the whole output and the exchange that she gets from that. It's pretty cool. So what is your favorite season?
Oh, absolutely, the fall, autumn. Yeah, I just love the autumn. I like it when the weather turns and the leaves turn and it gets a little cooler in the air. I lived in California for about 5 years, and that's something I really missed. And my entire family, was very eager to get back to a climate where we at least had some seasons. I mean, I got to say, living in the Northwest is pretty sweet because we don't have the really tough winters, but I do enjoy a change of season, and without a doubt, autumn is my favorite.
I agree with you. I could not agree more. Fall is my absolute favorite. It's so beautiful, and the crispness after being too hot most of the summer, and just kind of like the bugs and all the things that are not wonderful about summer, even though there's lots of great things. I love that switch too, where everything kind of switches over and it's cool and crisp and beautiful.
Well, I hope that this audience isn't beyond the Northwest because we're complaining about hot and bugs. I mean, come on.
Yes, yes. We have nothing to complain about here. We have the most beautiful place to live on the absolute earth, and I totally believe that to be true.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for talking with me. It was so great to see you and to hear your voice, and I look forward to being able to get together in person in the future. Thank you, Geoff.
Oh, thanks so much for inviting me.
Yes, thanks.